Okay, hey you guys, Mike Lawson here, the social CEO, but I'm excited to share with you guys Brian and Leslie Fatheree. Some of you guys will recognize them in a second, but I love what Brian was telling me that he was doing with his wife, and I wanted to just share what they're doing. They design courses on marriage and family and how to have an unbreakable family, and it just, it's I think it speaks to a lot of people because I know a lot of marriages end in divorce, unfortunately. And I was, brought up in one of those households and I went through it myself. And, I've seen a lot of friends and other family members go through it as well. And there's just something that speaks to me about, having listen, everyone wants to be in a loving, lasting relationship. I can't tell you how many people I talk to. They say, I just want to be with one person for the rest of my life. And I just love what they're doing. So I want to bring on Brian and his wife Leslie. Hey guys,
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
we're live on Facebook, and we're also live on YouTube. Let us know where you're watching in from. Say hello. If you guys have any questions for them, drop them in the comment section. We'll see if we can get them answered. But I appreciate you guys being here. So if you could just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your
Sure.
background and what made you start and what you're doing now.
Okay, sure. I'm Brian. This is Leslie. We have always been all about family. I've been in pastoral ministry for over 30 years, and she's been by my side the entire time. We just celebrated our 31st wedding anniversary, and one of the things we started looking at is the structure of family. We've been looking at things and the divorce rate and the things that are going on inside of family alarmed us. And so we're like, okay, what can we do to help families? And so we started praying and working on some things and put some things together. And so we just work step by step what we're doing. If I go back a little bit, when we were we had only four, we had 5 children. We had 4 at the time. We were at a church service, and we had an individual call us up, and he spoke to us and he said, look at your children. They are your ministry. And there will come a time that people will listen to what you have to say because of who they are. And we're like, okay, really cool. And probably in our 40s is when that started to happen, where people are like, because our kids grew up and they're good kids, they're great kids. They're different than everybody else.
Brian, not to interrupt you, Brian, but how long have you and your wife been in ministry?
The whole time we've been married, 30 plus years.
Wow.
So I was a youth pastor. Her dad was my pastor. So I married the pastor's daughter. I don't necessarily recommend that, but I did, and it worked.
It was fine.
So we've been in ministry for a long, long time. And a large focus of what we do in ministry has been family oriented.
Yeah.
A large portion of it, because we love family. We love being a family, and we hurt when we see other families not doing well.
Right.
We want to help them.
Yes.
And one of the things that we've always done is we don't teach things on, do this, do this. It's principles. We believe principles are eternal, and the principles that we share with people work. And so, but how they apply them is up to them. So we teach principles and we let you do the application. We're not saying, hey, you have to do it exactly like we've done it, because there's different nuances in every family.
Although we like to give like practical application things so that people can figure out maybe this would work for you. You can try this or try this, try it this other way. So we like to give practical application to what we share.
Yeah. And so when we start putting this together, the Lord reminded me of the thing that guy told us about our family being our ministry. And the Lord reminded me, he says, and they still are. And so we started taking a look at that, sat down with our children. They're all 17 is my youngest, 30 is my oldest. And we sat down with them. It's like, we want to do this, and we want you to be a part of it. There's a lot of ministries and marriage help, parenting help, but there's no one doing whole family approach. We include our children, everything we're doing, their content. We started a private Facebook group just to protect people inside the group, so they can be a safe community to share things. And my kids have been putting content in there, and I've been blown away. They don't need me, at least not anymore. but they're doing such a good job. of doing. I mean, my oldest son put some content in there a week or so ago that was so insightful and so in depth. And what I knew was what was going on behind the scenes, and for him to make the statements he made in that content was so powerful to me, because I knew he was going through some struggle, but in the middle of the struggle, he was really encouraging people to step up and do great things. I'm like, I didn't think that way in my 20s. I just didn't think that way.
Right.
So we're really excited to have our whole family involved in this, and it's a little scary because we have to be transparent of who we are and where we've been, and let people know that, hey, you can do this. You can have an unbreakable family. It's a term that the Lord gave us in this process. We want to help families become unbreakable. The divorce rate right now. Go ahead.
So let me ask you this. I mean, most marriages, over 50% end in divorce. I'm hearing, the younger generation, my kids are younger. I'm hearing a lot of, things that alarm me as far as, kids don't want to get married. They don't think marriage is a big deal.
Right.
So what would you say to, again, I truly believe that everyone, from what I've learned over the years, is everyone wants to be loved, right? Everyone wants to be in a loving family. They want to have children that are love them, they love them, they spend, and they have the perfect life. And there's no perfect family, right? But
I agree.
Right.
Why would you say that you think most marriages end in divorce?
I would say because of a lack of overall commitment, and it's really, when we had a discussion early on, the word divorce is not allowed in our vocabulary. Doesn't matter what we go through, what we do. Also, I think now this may repel some people, and frankly, I don't care, because what we do is Christian based. It's all based on biblical mandated marriage. And so, if you're not a Christian, I think it's hard enough as a Christian, but if you're not a Christian, it just multiplies the difficulty. There's a scripture in the Old Testament that talks about a threefold cord can't be broken. So we're two cords, and you put Christ in the middle, and we wrap ourselves around Him. Then we're not breakable. One of the contents, the videos we just had put up on the website was talking about Leslie's my number two. She's not my number one, and I'm her number two. So my number one is actually my relationship with God. Yes. But what that does, it frees me to love her, and I'm not held captive by having to have her satisfy my every need. And she doesn't have to make me happy, and I don't have to make her happy. We want to make each other happy.
Sure.
That's such a great point, because most people don't understand that. They think, why would you put someone, above your wife or above your husband? But they don't understand who you're putting above. And I totally agree with you, because when, I was brought up Catholic and was always very faithful and had God in my life. But when it came to marriage, it wasn't. And I've been divorced twice. And, I will admit, looking back, it's, we were living in a secular world, right? And it was more of, we didn't have God in our life, even though we kind of believed, and went to church and prayed and things like that. But it wasn't, it was different. Like you said, there was no commitment. And I believe that, like you said, it's hard enough to have a successful marriage without God. And I think that's one of and personally, I believe that's one of the reasons why, and I'm not a marriage expert like you guys, but I believe that's one of the reasons why most marriages end in a divorce, because I'd be willing to bet that those numbers are very high that they're not Christian. Or
in the church. I'm sorry, Mike. In the church itself, the divorce rate's about 40%. It's a little bit less than not church, but not a whole lot. And I think the reason there is just what you were just saying. They don't integrate their faith with their life.
Right.
It's a separate entity. Go ahead.
And honestly, that's where we're coming from. We are trying to help everybody understand how to integrate the Lord, integrate their faith into everything that we do. That's how our family has been unbreakable, because we've had all of our kids, all of our activities, all the things that we do for work, all the things that we do for play, everything is got faith intertwined in it. Yeah. And that holds us all together and keeps us all on the same page and moving in the same direction, which is really important if you're going to stay together.
And I think that's so important, right? Because I think I'll speak for myself. I used to think, oh, that stuff is all, it sounds great. Of course, you're in ministry. Of course, you're together for 30 plus years. And I can see why my marriage didn't work because I wasn't, but, you guys are a testimony to the fact that, biblical marriages work, putting God first works
Right.
because you've been married so long. And for those of you that have been through a divorce or two, like me, it's very, very painful to, to go through that. So, and I know some people think, well, this could be painful. I got to put God first and I have to do the right thing and I have to be transparent and honest and truthful. And, you know, um, I could go on and on because, I had a father that was unfaithful. I had, I grew up in a family environment like that, and going through a divorce and seeing divorces, it's not fun. This way that you guys are doing it seems like a lot more fun.
We have a lot of fun.
Yeah, we do. We joke that wherever we're at, that's where the party's at. It's a song by a group in Christianity. But yeah, and let me say this: the thing that we're teaching isn't to condemn someone who's been a single parent, or went through a divorce, or lost a spouse. It's just the principles are still work, whether you're a single parent, we have a blended family. The principles will still work.
Yeah.
I think they're more difficult in those other situations, but they still work.
We're encouraging everybody to pick it up and go forward from where you are.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So can you talk a little bit about how somebody would find the right spouse? I know you brought that up a little bit.
Yeah. Sure. You want to lead on that?
Okay, I'll start. One of the best ways is to start praying for that spouse. Praying for them as in praying for them to enter into your life so that you can find them, but also just praying God's blessing on them, praying for them to be, developing into everything they need to be your spouse. That was the major point where we started, was we individually were praying for a spouse before we found each other. And so I think that was a major foundation point. We were praying for each other before we even knew who each other were. And then the Lord brought us together. We're positive that it was because we were friends for several years, just friends, adamantly just friends. And then all of a sudden, within a month, we were not just friends. So you want to go from there?
Sure. I would say to follow what you said is you need to prepare yourself to be the best spouse that you can be.
Yes.
And not worry so much about what the spouse that you're going to have is going to be. You have to prepare yourself. I was just listening to a video by Dr. Henry Cloud. Dr. Cloud said that the biblical marriage is reserved for two complete people to come together and grow together. And it was really funny because under when he said that, the very first thing he said underneath there, someone's like, well, no one's complete, no one's perfect. And he said, well, you don't understand the biblical word complete then, or the biblical word perfect. It comes from a word that means mature. So we don't let kids in their teens, or in pre-adolescent get married. Why? They're not mature enough. They can't handle the ups and downs of marriage. And so you have to get to a place, first off, yourself, that you're mature enough to handle marriage, because there's challenges. Mike, I love what you said about the difference between a Christian marriage and a non-Christian marriage. But I'm going to tell you this, even in a Christian marriage, it's work.
It is.
We have worked at being married. We have worked at parenting. It's no less work.
And just to piggyback on that, I mean, even though I consider myself a Christian when I was married both times, I hate to admit it, especially on a live broadcast, but I was very immature, especially my first one, because I was young and, but I was very immature. But you're totally right when you say that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think finding the spouse, that definitely starts with you working on you to be the best you can be, and then praying for that other person, the same thing. So that then when you come together, it works.
And then trusting God that He can bring that person to you. In our case, she was still dating. I didn't date. I was waiting for God to bring me my spouse, whoever she may be, and I didn't care height, color, size. I knew that whoever God brought me would be who I would love, and so I was praying, and I had three scriptures. I took a scripture from Matthew, a scripture from Proverbs, and then I attached the Proverbs 31 virtuous woman to those two scriptures. So I was praying for my virtuous woman, whoever she may be, wherever she may come from. And I had two scriptures, one in Matthew 7 that says, every good thing comes from the Father above. And then Proverbs 18, pardon me, says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and has favor from God. So I tied those two good things and I kept telling God, I want my good thing. I want you to bring her, but I want my good thing. And I want her to look like this, which was the Proverbs 31 woman. And so he did a much better job of choosing a wife than I ever could have.
So, that's a great point. So let me say this, like, and I can hear some people thinking, does prayer really work? Can I really pray for someone? And if I do believe in that, how do I know when you find the right one? Now I obviously, for people, that know me, know that I absolutely believe in prayer, and 100%. I've had almost every prayer ever answered. But I will say this: when I was, in the flesh, and I made my own decisions, I can see why I went through the divorces that I went through, or picked the people that I picked, because they weren't from God. And not to say that they were bad and I was better. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about that, I didn't listen. I didn't pray for it, and it wasn't from God. And I could see why they didn't last. So not only did I mess my own life up, but I messed their life up too, in a certain way. And that's not fun.
Sorry, my phone acted up, and I could hear the last thing you said.
I was just saying how I messed up and didn't listen to God or wait for a spouse and kind of pick my own. And and not that they were bad and I was good or anything like that. It just, I could see why I messed my life up and messed hers up to a certain extent as well. Because I believe that God has people that are meant for us, but we have to listen and obey. And I didn't do that.
And the way is you get confirmation. When we were coming together as husband and wife, and we had, when what she said, all of a sudden it became like metal to magnet attraction, like overnight. And so we had a conversation like, are you the one? Are you the one? I don't know. Let's go pray, but not together. Because we prayed together. This was my thing. We prayed together, we're going to make out, call it God, and we're going to mess up each other's lives. So she went and prayed. I went and prayed. Two different experiences. Because her friends were based a lot on physical traits and things of that nature. I went to a couple friends, and when we prayed together, the one person that had nothing, he's like, I don't have anything for you. And the other persons were praying. He's like, I've got two scriptures for you. And they were the scriptures I've been praying for years. And so there was confirmation in that. And I remember him looking at me and saying, what's going on? So it looks like I'm getting married. And he says, to who? The Leslie Craig. And he goes, what? And she knows it. No. Well, she says no. Well, then I've missed God, and I'll miss him before. That's the other thing. You can miss it, but don't take condemnation on that, and don't be judged on that, because it takes two to realize that it's working together, and they may not agree. My son had a young lady who thought that he should be her husband, and approached him about that. And he's like, I'm not ready. I'm not mature enough. Not ready yet. And maybe down the road, but it's not the time for me. And she was not happy about that. And then what's funny though is that now she's found her guy, like in the last couple of months, and it's not my son, and everybody's okay with that. So it takes two people working with the Lord together to find that person. And it takes a lot of patience.
I will also say that confirmation, when you're looking for confirmation, you always look for the peace.
Right.
God always brings peace when things are right, when we're in his will and what he wants, he brings peace. If you don't have peace about it, if you're not content and at peace about it, then it's probably not his will, not the right one.
That's right.
I love that. Okay, so here's a question. How do you, because, we like what we like, and, we might, be attracted to certain people, but they might not be the right ones for us. How do we know if they're the right one for us?
I'll let her address that. He said that you like what you like, and you're attracted to certain people. And how do you know when it's not that person?
Okay. So he's not my type at all. Um, I'm usually looked at tall, dark, and handsome. And
I'm not
yeah,
that.
he's not. He's mine, and I love him just the way he is, and he's awesome. But he's definitely not what I look for physically. And so another reason it was hard for me to make sure that he was the right one is because when you look with physical eyes, you're always,
Yeah.
you're looking for the thing that pleases your physical eyes. So when you pray about it, when you seek God about it, then you are able to let him lead you, even if it doesn't look right physically. You can see who he's saying is yes. And so when I prayed about whether we were right to be together, my confirmation came in just the peace that I had after we had separated and prayed and we came back together. I knew immediately when he held my hand, I was like, okay, this is him. Whether he looks right or doesn't look right, right isn't really the right thing, but he is the football style, and I was always looking for the basketball player style. So it's just different. And
Right.
so but he's still good. He's everything I want and everything I love. So
Yeah. And again, it's a testament that you guys have been married for over 31 years.
Hang on, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, my volume dropped for some reason. But go ahead
Okay.
and say it again.
But it's a testament. You guys have been together for 31 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
31 years. And because when I was talking about the prayer that she got from her friends, like, oh, Brian's nice and all that, but he's not what you date. He's not that guy. He's friendly and he's nice, we like him, but he's not the right guy. So you have to allow God to bring someone to you uh, uh, that may not fit every single attribute physically that you want, but they have everything that you need. One of the things that's been really cool about our journey as a couple is the fact that God put inside of Leslie everything that I needed. And then he put stuff in her that I needed that I didn't even know I needed. She'll do something or say something or treat me a certain way. And I'm like, I didn't even know I needed that.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, you're so cool because you did that, put that in her, and I didn't even know I needed that attribute.
Right.
So thank you for putting that in her, and thank you for giving that woman to me.
Well,
we
God is
taught
awesome. Yeah.
we taught our children when they were praying for spouses that it's okay to add those physical traits in there in your prayer because God knows you like certain things. But really, to focus, the most important thing is to focus on character traits and the things that will help keep your marriage unbreakable in the first place. Is loyalty and faithfulness and love and those kind of things. Those are the more important things.
So let's talk about what you started and why you guys. I know we talked about that a little bit a few minutes ago, but why did you decide to start Family Secrets? What's it about? And can you just tell everybody a little bit about it, about the program?
Absolutely. We start Family Secrets to help families, to help specifically young Christian families all through their life, the different seasons of their life. There's a scripture in Ephesians chapter 5. It's Ephesians 5:32, and it's right after Paul's talking to husbands and wives, and that's where he tells husbands to love their wives and wives to respect their husbands. And this long diatribe of what a spouse relationship looks like. And at the end of that diatribe, in Ephesians 5:32, he says, "I'm speaking of a mystery," because I'm speaking about the kingdom of God. And so a lot of people think you have to figure out God's kingdom and God's ways to figure out marriage. And according to that scripture, it's the other way around. Right. The secret to God's kingdom is actually wrapped around marriage. And if you think about that, the very first thing God ever created once he got past the animals and all that was marriage. He gave Adam a wife and he created marriage. And they didn't figure it out, right? They got kicked out of the garden and their kids are killing each other. And so they never figured it out that what they had in their hands was actually what God intended for his kingdom. Right. And so if we can get to a place that we understand God puts us together as husband and wife, whoever we are, to show us how to live by faith and to show us how to have a relationship with him. Because, I've heard a lot of people say, how can I have a relationship with God who I can't see when I can't have a relationship with someone I love that I do see? And so we feel that it's so important to understand marriage and understand the principles behind marriage and the depth of that. Because, marriage is awesome. But it's not just for me to chase her around the room, though that's fun. But it's really for us to develop and grow together as individuals, as a couple, as parents leading a legacy through our children, and also people of faith that people can look at us because people are watching Christians and saying, "Well, why would we want what you got? Why are you any different?"
Right.
And we want to help families to stand out.
Yes.
If you talk to anyone about our family, and we don't like to brag on ourselves, we really don't. But if you talk to anyone about our family, we stand out because the servanthood that's in our kids, the integrity that's in our kids, the things that we've taught them and worked with them. And it wasn't easy. It was a process. They had to work on it. We had to work on it
Yeah.
through the whole time that we were parenting and being married. And so we're working on ourselves at the same time we're working on our kids, and it just gets really to be a big challenge. But we started this to help other families be successful in their journey as a family.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you guys are doing because, like I, hinted to earlier, growing up in a broken household and then, repeating that process and repeating that cycle again
Sure.
is not fun. It really isn't. And, seeing the effects of, now my children going through it, and I want to prevent that from, them finding the right spouse and not going through a divorce and going through
Sure.
custody battles and all that, because that stuff it takes a toll on our children. And it's I believe that's, I don't know if it's a pandemic or an epidemic, but I think it's there's a lot of children out there, that grow up in these, and you probably know better than me, being in ministry, that are, they're broken. They're coming from broken homes. They're brokenhearted. They're being torn back and forth from mom to dad. Who should I love? Where should I go? So I love what you guys are doing. I really do. So
Yeah.
so how can
Here's the
people?
thing about those kids is, and another reason we're doing that is so they can draw a line in the sand and say it stops with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
That generational thing stops with me, and I'm going to have
Something
a different marriage. My marriage is going to last. My
Yeah.
mom and dad's may not have. They've been married 2, 3, 4 times. It's okay, but I'm going to make a difference. I'm drawing a line in the sand because I want to tell them that just because your parents had those struggles, you don't have to.
Right.
But it's normal to them because they lived it. And so we're wanting to help them become different. And one of the things we're trying to do, we haven't done yet, to go with the website and the training and the teaching that we're doing, is we're actually writing not a book, but a manual. Like people talk about, I'd love to have someone tell me what to do once I get married. There's no manual. So we're actually writing a marriage manual that will come out and have some principles, not some, but a lot of principles and a lot of things from everything from what we talked about all the way through to when, like we're grandparents now too. And so one of the hardest things we actually learned to do was release our child into someone else's hand. Our oldest daughter got married, and so that's a whole nother lesson and thing. But we want to help people. It's kind of a womb to tomb thought process, but we want to start with the young families because we can influence them more than someone who's already been married, 5, 10, 15 years and already has some things placed in motion. We want to help everybody, but we really want to start with the young families because we think we can help them adjust and move forward positively in their life.
Sure. And where can people find information if they want information about your program?
They can go to our website. It's family-secrets@mykajabi.com.
Is it at My Kajabi or .My Kajabi?
What's that?
Is it at My Kajabi or .?
I think it's at mykajabi.com. It's either dot or at. I don't remember. One of the two. I'd have to. I'm so sorry.
No, that's my fault. I could have typed it in wrong, but I will find out in a second.
I think it's
so what can they expect? No, it is dot. It is dot. So that's the right
dot. Okay. I'm glad you saved me.
Beautiful looking site. I love it.
What they expect is we have courses and content on there for different areas of things. It's a subscription-based website, so they can get in there. They can do it monthly, annually, or we actually have an offer that we're calling a lifetime member.
That's awesome.
So they can pay one fee and get content for the rest of their life. As long as we're doing it, they'll get it. And then the other place they can go to Facebook, we have a private Facebook group. It's Family Secrets, and you just go to groups and look up Family Secrets. And then we just opened up a group on LinkedIn, also named Family Secrets, and it's on LinkedIn as well. And I can, when we get done, I'll send you those links. I don't have those with me.
Awesome.
But I'll send those to you so you can have them. If anyone wants those, glad to share them with you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh, and they can email us at fathereefamilysecrets@gmail.com.
Say that again.
Fatheree Family Secrets at gmail.com.
I'll put that in there. Secrets@gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fatheree Family Secrets.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, and if anyone's watching this or watching on the replay or whenever you see this, I mean, this is technically today's called Easter Tuesday, right? Yeah, Easter Tuesday, or no?
Yeah.
It's just Easter Monday, or we go on Easter Tuesday?
Yeah, well, it's the day, Easter was Sunday, so we're right after.
Sunday, yeah. So it's the Tuesday after Easter. Okay, but I know Easter Monday is anyway. So, but if you guys have any questions for Brian or Leslie, send them an email. Go find them. Join their groups. But it's also something where people can also gift this to someone else, right?
Yes, they can. Yeah, they can. When we went live with the website last week, we finally got it up and going. Went live. I've got a really close friend, and he wanted to be our first subscriber. And so he actually did the lifetime subscription, but he didn't do it for himself. He did it for his son and his daughter-in-law. He said, I want to do it for them.
Yeah.
And so he actually subscribed them into that because they're a young couple with one little baby and another one on the way. So he thought that what we had to offer would help them.
That's awesome. Well, it's definitely a gift that's going to, pay huge dividends. I wish I had something like this, when I was, growing up, and especially in my teenage years, starting to date and, things like that. So, and I know you guys are doing a lot of other stuff, but just for the sake of time, I appreciate you guys' time, but
we appreciate you.
Thanks for letting us be here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No problem. Is there anything else you guys want to add, or
anything you got extra you want to add?
I just, we're really excited that our kids are helping us with this whole process. And so I just want to make sure that, that everybody gets a taste of all our kids and what they have to offer. And so that's coming in the website also. We've started with our oldest daughter, who's going to do mommy moments with me. And we're going to talk about parenting little ones. And that's exciting. We had a lot of fun doing that. And we have our second son is overcoming autism. So we're going to have some special needs kind of things that are thrown in here and there. And so just some really exciting things that they have to bring to the table too. And so I wanted to just be understood that, boy, it's going to be not just Brian and I. So if you're tired of looking at our faces, they're going to be their faces in there too. And it'll be exciting.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So I'm so excited for you guys. So definitely go and check them out. Follow them on, find them on Facebook, send them an email if you have any questions. Definitely go check out their website. I'll put that up again. Here's the website. Definitely go check that out. Great stuff. I love what you guys are doing. So, but I appreciate your time and again, just putting out great content. And Brian, you've been so consistent. I love what you're doing. And I'm just excited for you guys, and I wish you guys the best. And I hope this thing really blows up because I know a lot of families need it for sure.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thanks, Mike. Really appreciate it.
All right. You got it, guys. All right. Have a great day. I'll see you guys soon. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, sir. We're good.
We're good.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, guys. Great seeing everybody. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.